let me know when we're rolling, Mel.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. Hey, thanks again, guys, for being here for me. I just want to take some time today. Today we're going to be talking about the legalization of marijuana. And I know what a lot of you guys are thinking. Oh, it's just some pothead thinks, marijuana should be legal and there's no benefits to it. And, first off, I'm not a pothead. But I am coming to you from a point of, social and economical benefits that we could find with the legalization of marijuana and cannabis. And what they are finding throughout the country, because we all hear about it in the news. There's so much talk about it. People are probably sick of talking about it, honestly. You got Canada to our north, and they've legalized it. So we're going to see a lot of data coming out of there. But what we've seen throughout our country, in Colorado, Washington State, Oregon, you're seeing massive economic benefits coming from that. So we're going to be discussing that, as well as the medical portion of that, the medical benefits to that. We have a huge opioid crisis going on in our country right now. A lot of people are dying and are becoming hooked on substances they wouldn't normally become hooked on had they not been chronically ill. So this is what we'll also be looking at into alternative medication and a solution to that problem, as well as the recreational, what we could do with recreational marijuana and how that could benefit us as well. So, the reasons why I'm such an outspoken advocate for it are exactly what I just said. And I myself was someone who was chronically ill as a child, and I suffer tertiary and secondary effects to the treatment that I received when I was receiving chemo. So a lot of the drugs that they're prescribing to people are extremely toxic or extremely taxing on the body. So that's why I'm so passionate about it. Having gone in and out of the surgery room, being prescribed opioids, I can see that it could be a problem for someone who's not as strong-willed when it comes to medication and opioids. Okay, so a lot of people are trying to make the argument that marijuana is extremely dangerous, and to the naysayers I say, do you smoke tobacco or smoke cigarettes or use tobacco, smokeless tobacco, or maybe are you or one of your loved ones on antidepressants, or have you used opioids after surgery, or how many energy drinks do you drink a day, how much fast food are you eating? And they may seem like bizarre questions, but the reality of it is it's not very bizarre, because I think it helps put into perspective what would actually be defined as an issue in my eyes. Because I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of in relation to those substances that I just mentioned in relation to marijuana, to really help hone that in and put it into perspective. So first, let's talk about those energy drinks that I spoke of. High fructose corn syrup. We know that Coca-Cola has probably almost 100% of our daily value worth of sugar in just like 1 20-ounce soda. So what does sugar cause? That causes type 2 diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver disease, obesity, childhood obesity, which 30 years ago, until we doubled our sugar consumption, didn't even exist. So that's something that is pretty alarming. What does marijuana cause? Nothing. We don't have any data that supports that marijuana causes any one of those things that cause like thousands of deaths per year in the United States or worldwide. Okay, so tobacco. Science tells us that tobacco causes cancer. Like, that is fact. There's no data supporting that it doesn't. So we got 440,000 deaths per year from tobacco alone. Tobacco-related deaths, whether it be lung cancer, heart disease, so on and so forth. Secondhand smoke. Marijuana, still none, no deaths. Okay, antidepressants. We know that so many of our, people who are dealing with mental health issues, depression, anxiety, things like that, are on antidepressants. And there's absolutely a medical application to those. But once again, what happens if, there's also tons of data supporting the theories that marijuana can reduce anxiety, reduce depression, PTSD, things like that. What happens if you take too much marijuana? Do you overdose from it? I don't think so. I think, if you were to eat a bag of marijuana, you would be completely fine. But if you eat a bottle of pills or your child gets into your pills, they die, they overdose. over 10,000 benzodiazepine-related overdoses per year in the United States. So, marijuana, 0. All right, so opioids. This is something that is in the spotlight of our country's issues, okay? And once again, that does have a medical use. People who are trauma patients coming out of surgery, even sometimes in some cases, chronic pain. And the issue is with the overprescription and people who could probably receive the same effect, an analgesic effect, with maybe another substance, are being hit with these heavy hitter opioids that they're becoming physically dependent on. And once those prescriptions stop, they're going to the streets, going towards heroin and the black market drugs. And last year alone, 72,306 people in the United States overdosed and died due to opioids. So if you do that math, divide that by 365 days, that's a lot of people per day. I've seen it firsthand myself working in emergency rooms, and it's really tragic. So the overdoses related to marijuana last year were 0. So the scheduling of the drug is really important. So the way they schedule these are 1 through 5. And right now, marijuana is a Schedule 1, cocaine is a Schedule 2. So the reason why that's really important, what needs to happen is the FDA needs to change that scheduling so we can actually continue to pursue and get federal funding to research these products to be, as we know they can, or to really understand the true benefits of it. So I'm just going to read it straight from the FDA, and it says that Schedule 1 drugs are considered to be the most dangerous with a high risk for abuse and has no accepted medical use, which we know marijuana does not fit that criteria. It does not. So drugs that are considered to be that are also LSD, heroin, ecstasy, and where so it's the perspective of the government and the people who are making these decisions are not looking in the best interest of Americans at this point. Because, once again, just to put a hard number to it, absolutely zero overdoses from marijuana and over 72,000 from opioids, which some of them are Schedule 2, some of them are Schedule 3, depending on which ones. So at this point, you're probably sick of me pointing out the obvious. So let's talk about the economic benefits of it. In 2015, the marijuana industry was valued to be at $1 billion, worth in like total sales, and that's just in Colorado alone. So that generated around $135 million for the state of Colorado in just tax revenue alone. Then in 2016, 1 year later, it grew 30% to $6.7 billion, and they're anticipating that this market is going to be around $20.1 billion, valued to be around $20.1 billion in 2021. So, like any industry that can produce that much without harming people should be looked into. We should be moving towards that. We should really be expanding and seeing what this can do. So those taxes really can benefit our communities, whether that be through a sin tax, the same way we are talking about, or same way we tax alcohol, tobacco, gambling. We can dump that back into the community through education, which, especially here in North Carolina, we know is lacking, and they need money. We put that back into law enforcement, healthcare, Social Security, things like that. So it's an absolutely legitimate way that we can benefit from it and benefit our communities. So I think the stigma of it really needs to change, and that we need to continue to educate people and continue to critically think through the issues that we have in our country that are not caused by actual industries such as the sugar industry, the the pharmaceutical industries, those are actual problems that need to be addressed. Marijuana does not. It's not a problem. It's actually, in my eyes, the complete opposite of it. It could be an answer to a lot of our problems. So 62% of Americans are actually in favor of full legalization of marijuana, so, you know, the skeptics are actually like, they're really outruled. So that's taken from a couple different polls, but for the most part, most people are for it. So, to be honest with you, I'm pretty sick of having to advocate for it, because I don't think I should have to be up here wasting my breath about it, and that's because of the larger issues that we have in this country. So what I ask from you, and I appreciate you taking your time, is when it comes to cannabis, like, let's legalize, not demonize. Let's look into it, let's do our research, and if you have people or loved ones that are either dealing with addiction, chronic pain, to have them look into it, to talk to their doctors about it. So thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys taking your time to sit here and listen to me talk. So thank you guys.